This piece includes mugshots of musicians who went through different struggles before getting to where they are today. For these artists, growing up was hard and they had to make choices that led them to the current road they walk on. For each background, I chose lyrics to their songs that talk about their own separate struggles. The flowers represent pain, struggle, and loss, but they also represent the good in each of them. Their pasts were just a little misguided. The idea for this piece stemmed from Jacob Lawrence because his work revolves around conflict. This made me think of opposites, which led me to colors. I wanted to focus on blue and orange, which are both featured in Jacob Lawrence's piece, but are also opposites on the color wheel. Even though these are opposites, they are complementary, which made me want to incorporate the idea of bringing them together in an abstract way. When I first saw this work of Jacob Lawrence, the first thing I noticed was that the piece seemed to strongly convey one thought, emotion, topic. And after seeing this, I began to think to myself how I could do that same thing. I decided to try to convey fear, and how it is a malevolent being that takes a different form or appearance depending on who it shows itself to. And in doing so, I also tried to do something else that Lawrence did, and that was tell a story. Many of these pieces told a story from his experience or another real-life experience, but I decided to put a twist on this. Instead of telling one story, I decided to tell many, and not just written stories, but stories that a viewer puts together themselves. Ones that the viewer begins to understand as they look over the piece and begin to think about it. The initial idea for this piece was to capture both the same atmosphere that the original piece had and put a modern twist on it as well. In my mind, I wanted to incorporate something that audiences of all ages could relate to, the something being Pokemon. Although I didn't alter the composition, I believe the meaning is clear. All of the characters included are people of color, and the beast, a dog-like monster from the game. I took a lot of things into consideration while creating this: landscape, colors, and expression. My attempts at matching the game's vibe while keeping the same unnerving feeling as the original piece was hard to do, but fun nonetheless. The inclusion of people of color was intentional, as Pokemon has recently increased diversity in its character development. This piece was inspired by the Jacob Lawrence piece because of the conflict shown within the piece. My work is about the mental conflict in having a bright and happy outer appearance while having a dark and depressed interior. The figure is bright and colorful against a black background, showing that there's a light within the darkness. But being in the dark for a while, lonely with your thoughts, eventually leads to happy vibes going away. And that's where the words come in, showing all the negative thoughts and feelings that are hidden away, eating you from the inside, making things go from bad to worse. The end game of the piece is to send a message, which is, don't keep in all of those negative thoughts and feelings, because eventually they will come out one way or another. I created this piece to show how hard it is to speak my opinions and say things I want to others because it gives me anxiety. I am better with it now and can speak to others with confidence, but I wanted to create this piece to show people it is not as easy as it seems. My inspiration comes from the Jacob Lawrence piece. I really enjoyed the bright colors he used, so I used them in my background, and I also love the idea of confronting fears, which was the main inspiration behind my piece. I created this piece in order to express the question, what really matters in life, or in death? I did this by making a ceramic piece that has symbols of relationships, time, and money surrounding a skull. The skull is staring at the viewer and cannot see any of the items surrounding it. This is meant to express that worldly things do not matter when you die. This, in turn, is supposed to raise the question of what does matter. Jacob Lawrence influenced my work because he was pushing the idea of conflict between people, which made me think about how we shouldn't fight each other because there isn't a meaningful enough reason to do so. My piece is focused on the idea of fear, specifically the fear of the unknown. My work was inspired by Confrontation at the Bridge because Lawrence incorporated both fear and a bridge. Bridges themselves are a cause of fear for some people, and I also used colors to represent something that is not known. I also added cracks at the base of the bridge, leading to a crevice to increase the illusion of fear, more specifically, fear of the unknown. There's darkness at the end of the bridge, so viewers get the idea that the bridge itself also doesn't lead to a happy, joyful image, but instead, an unknown location. The colors in Jacob Lawrence's piece inspired my work the most. The bright colors reminded me of flowers and nature, which inspired me to paint a mannequin filled with flowers, leaves, and bugs. In Lawrence's piece, I also found the contrast of colors inspiring. So instead of sticking with a specific color theme, I decided to use different colors of flowers all over my piece. Painting flowers inspired me to create a concept about femininity and beauty, which is why I painted them on a female figure. I wanted to show femininity in a beautiful and positive way. Kisan explored the idea of fear and the unknown, representing it most clearly with the concept of space. Confrontation at the bridge has inspired me to create my artwork Un Puente de Amor, meaning a bridge of love. My artwork is about my parents' hands holding each other to represent a bridge. Bridges allow people to cross, and in this piece my parents are the bridge for my siblings and I, as they create that bridge for us to cross it for a better life and better future. This piece was created in response to the feelings that came from viewing Lawrence's piece. It is understood that this piece is subject to cause a range of emotions, but as an artist, my goal for this was to make viewers think. I created this work in an attempt to express my ideology on a topic that is centered around conflict, the basis behind Lawrence's piece. The colors within the painting are used to create separation and to show the conflict between two sides, light and dark, good and evil, one side giving the gift of life while the other side is taking it. Inspiration for this piece comes not only from what I take from Lawrence's piece, but also the faith that the family I've grown up in is centered around and feels very firmly about. These ideas, I feel, define the person I am. I've always had them, and I will always have them. This piece represents how the brain can trap individuals. We become trapped within a maze of our own thoughts due to overthinking. The mind can cause many different types of mental illnesses, causing one to feel they've reached a dead end. Throughout life, many people experience moments that make them feel uncomfortable in their own skin, causing them to want to wipe away their emotions. Everyone has gone through some type of feeling of insecurity, also causing one to hide their true selves. I made this piece to express the meaning of types of mental illnesses and insecurities. Many people in this world have experienced some type of off-putting situation. Therefore, I wanted to create a piece that everyone can look at and connect to in their own way.